You've been thinking about selling a property for months. Maybe it's on the market right now and nothing's happening with it. Or you just want to avoid hassle and time-wasting viewers and agents that are incompetent. Then maybe one of our ads pops up on Facebook, Instagram, Google, or someone says to speak to us about auction. Do you think auction? I'm not really desperate to sell, and also, what if it sells for nothing? Look, I get it. My name's Lewis, I own Prime Property Auctions. We're Scotland's highest rated auction house, and we've sold over 600 lots in the past 3 years. I've also sold 30 properties myself through auction. So I've been the seller, and I've also dealt with hundreds of sellers as the auctioneer. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how selling through auction works. Right from seeing one of our ads, entering your details, through to getting your money in the bank. The step-by-step process so that you feel comfortable knowing whether auction is right for you or not. I'm also going to address all the common questions that we get. I look at stats, I look at our reporting, I look at the surveys we get our clients to do, all of the common questions and worries people have about selling at auction so that you can get it all in one video. One thing to clarify though, we do traditional auction. We're not modern method. Traditional auction means we get a deposit from a buyer that's non-refundable, and if the buyer does not complete, you keep the money. With modern method, the buyer pays a reservation fee, which you don't keep, the agent keeps, and it's not really that binding, and it's a bit So we are traditional auction, buyer pays a deposit, it's secured. So before we even talk about how auction works, let's address why would someone go to auction in the first place? Because no one just wakes up one day thinking, you know what, I really want to sell my property through an auction. It just doesn't happen. Usually, someone refers them to us, or they see one of our ads that calls out to certain things that they really feel are important to them that a traditional sale cannot provide them. So it's more about what auction can help solve versus just selling through an auction, because there are certain things that are really important to you as a seller that the traditional way of selling cannot really help with. Let's explore what I mean by that. Here are some of the most common situations that people find themselves in before coming to auction. For example, you've inherited a flat or a house you don't want, you're paying council tax on it being empty, you're never going to live there, it needs a bit of work, you cannot be bothered doing it up before selling. What do? Maybe you're a landlord who's done being a landlord. You've had tenants move out, your estate agent's saying you need to do it up a wee bit to sell it, you just don't want to do it. You don't have the money, or you don't want to put the money into it, you just want it gone. Or maybe you've tried the estate agency route, you've had offers come in, agreed, buyer pulls out multiple times, the agent's just saying, give me another month, it's all going to be better in a month's time, and you're just sick of it. Or you've come across us because you just want a hassle-free sale, and you just don't want to deal with the BS that comes with selling the normal way through an estate agent. From our data, over half the people we speak to have thought about selling for over 3 months before they even speak to us. Underneath it all, this is what it all comes down to. People say, I want a quick sale, guaranteed by a deposit, at a price I'm happy with, without any of the hassle. And that's exactly what Prime is built to do. So, in the rest of the video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works when you think, I'm done waiting, I want to get a sale. You see one of our ads online, or you Google us and you see we can offer a free auction valuation. Here's exactly what happens after you click or tap. So it takes you to our website and it asks you to fill in a wee form. This is a form that helps us with the next part of the process. It'll ask about the address, it'll ask about your situation, it'll ask about roughly what you're looking for and your contact details. The form is the first thing that we need to understand your situation so that when we come to speaking to you, we're not going to waste your time. As soon as you submit the form, a valuer on our team gets the notification. You're also given the opportunity to book in a call if there's a time that suits you best. Otherwise, the valuer will just call you ASAP. So see that first step where you request a valuation, it doesn't lock you into anything. It just starts the conversation with someone who understands auction, who understands and wants to understand your situation to see if auction is actually the right route for you. What actually happens on the valuation call? Is it just some guy trying to pressure me into selling my house through auction? No. Here's what actually happens. So when our valuer calls you, we want to find out 3 things. One is your situation. Why is it you're actually looking to sell this property? What's most important to you? Is it getting the highest price? Is it getting a really fast sale? Is it avoiding another sale falling through? 2, we'll talk about what the property might achieve at auction. We'll look at comparables, we'll ask you your situation in terms of what you need from the sale, what you're ideally looking for, and we'll come to a rough figure of what it might go for. 3, we go over how it actually works selling through auction. The fact that you get to set your minimum price, it's called a reserve price. Unless you get an offer that you want to take, we don't sell it, it's no sale, no fee. When we do get an offer you want to take, the buyer pays a deposit straight away of 10% and they pay the rest in 28 days. If they pull out, If they don't want to go ahead for whatever reason, you keep the money and we find you someone else. So you're protected on price and protected against time wasters. Use protection, use Prime. By the end of the call, you should be able to answer, is this route for me? And if it is, what I can expect. Now, just to reiterate, auction is not for everyone. If you want to get the absolute highest price, no matter how long it takes, it might take 3-4 months, it might fall through, but you don't care because you want the highest price, go with a high street estate agent. But if you're happy with a fair price, fast, with a deposit that you keep regardless, auction is right for you. And just to stress this, unless we sell this, we are actually losing money. So, because we're no sale, no fee, there is no benefit to us saying, yes, we'll get you this price, selling you the dream, and then it doesn't sell. So let's assume you're happy to go ahead, which most people are on the first call. We would send you a text message with a link to look at our terms, and it'll be on this video. It'll show you exactly how it looks. So it's just terms of business, which shows your name, address, reserve price, and at the very bottom, if you're happy with it all, you can sign it with your finger, it takes 2 seconds. If you've got any questions, the valuer's on the phone with you, so you can ask while you're looking at this. The reserve price is important for the live auction, because at the live auction, there needs to be a minimum that when it's hit, it sells, because people are bidding. However, outside of the live auction, any offer that we generate, we will take to you. So even if the reserve price is 100, we get an offer of 105, we'll still ask you the question. Offer at 100, we'll still call you to ask you the question. Even if we get an offer below at 95 and your reserve's 100, we'll still ask you the question. Now here's an important part. We will never reject an offer without speaking to you. And this is an important difference between us and estate agents. Estate agents, you say you want home report of 100 and an offer comes in at 95, they might not even take it to you because you've said you want 100. Whereas us, we will take you the offer of 95. And if you're at a point where you would consider it or even counter it and they go to 97 or whatever, we will do that. We give you the choice, that's the important part. Once terms are signed and you've set the reserve price, you're no longer just thinking about selling. You're officially on the path to actually getting a sale done. Now we can do our job. Selling a property is a little bit more complicated than selling books on eBay at auction, so there is some stuff you need to provide. As soon as you sign terms, you will get an email asking to upload your proof of ID and proof of address for anti-money laundering purposes. And secondly, you'll get a text message asking for your solicitor's details. Your solicitor is the one that prepares the legal pack. The legal pack is just a title, so it just shows ownership and it shows the plan of the property and any other documents that you want to provide. Solicitors cost usually around £1,000 to £1,500, and the way they get paid is on completion, which is the day the property sells. They get sent the money from the buyer, they take their fee from that, pay you the rest, and that's how it works. So you don't have to pay them anything up front. And here's a thing you can do as well. So we have a fee that we charge. You have a reserve price. If you want to walk away with, let's say 100 in your hand, you can just add our fee into the reserve. So just increase the reserve a little bit so it covers our fee. Once this part is done, we can now do what we need to do and getting the marketing done, getting offers negotiated, and getting you a sale. You may be thinking, am I going to get a massive bill for photographs and videos and all that kind of stuff? The answer is no. We provide professional photographs, a floor plan, and a virtual tour for free. That is our skin in the game. So our photographer will send you a message on WhatsApp or text or call asking when it's best to go and get the photographs done. If you need a home report, if you're in Scotland and you have a residential property that is habitable, that's something that you'll also legally need. So we can organise one for you. We use a trusted surveyor and we can coordinate access so the photographer and the surveyor arrive at the same time. Or you can use your own if you have your own surveyor, that's not an issue. By the end of this step, everything will be ready, so the photos will be done, we'll have the floor plan, the virtual tour, and the listing already typed up. Now we're ready to go on the market. What actually happens when we list your property? Does it just go on some random website somewhere? The answer is no. We list the property on all the major portals. So Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, LoopNet if it's commercial, Novaloka if it's commercial. On our website, we've got a mailing list of over 30,000 active buyers. So absolutely everyone that wants to see or is actively buying a property, they will see it. At the very same time, we invite buyers to make offers on the property. We also invite them to register for the auction that's every 2 weeks. It's a live auction and they can bid between 10:30 and 4:30. However, most sales happen before the auction or outside of the auction, 90%, because if someone inquires and they're interested, we don't tell them to wait, we tell them to make an offer. And if you're happy with that offer, we can just sell it. From this point on, your property is listed and visible to serious buyers with the hard deadline of the auction day. So it's almost like the auction day will give someone urgency to make you an offer today. How long does it actually take to get a sale on your property? Rather than just saying fast, here's what our numbers actually say. This is from listing the property to getting a deposit from a buyer. 90% of properties sell outside of the auction. Flats take about 20 days, houses 29 days, commercial property 41 days, and land 16 days. So we said we're going to bring you all offers. But does that mean we're going to bring you an offer from someone that needs to sell their auntie's friend's house in a year's time before they can buy this? No, we're going to bring you offers from people we've qualified. That means we check their source of funds, we check they understand what they're buying, and we check they understand the terms. However, if the property does go to the live auction day, you can see it on our bidding platform on our website from 10:30 to 4:30, and you'll be able to see live bids. So whether you get an offer before the auction or it's a bid in the live auction, the goal is the same and the process is the same. They still pay a non-refundable deposit and they still complete within your time period. When is your property considered actually sold? When you're at auction. The critical moment is the deposit. As soon as the buyer pays that non-refundable deposit and it hits our client account, we call you and tell you the property now is sold. At that point, the buyer is legally committed to go ahead with the transaction. So you'll know the exact price, you'll know the completion date for the buyer. If they do back out, they lose the deposit. What happens is you keep the deposit minus our fee, and then we just sell it again. If you've ever had a buyer pull out or heard about buyers pulling out a transaction, this is the part that gives auctions its edge. As soon as the deposit's in, that's it, it's done. Okay, so deposit's in. What actually happens between deposit being paid and the rest of the money being paid? Once the deposit's paid, we finalise the legal pack, we sign the part that we need to do as an auctioneer in the legal documents, and we send it to your solicitor. Your solicitor then sends that information to the buyer's solicitor. They organise a completion date, which is just when they pay the rest of the money. And on that date, the buyer sends the funds to their solicitor, sends the funds to your solicitor, who sends the funds to you. And at that point, keys are handed over, the mortgage is cleared if you had a mortgage on the property, etc., and you've sold. If, as I said, for whatever reason, the buyer does not go ahead, does not pay the rest of the money, is late, whatever happens, they lose the deposit. So when it comes to completion time, we basically send the deposit to your solicitor, regardless of whether they've completed or not, minus our fee, and then they pay it out to you. If for whatever reason the buyer goes over the agreed date, or they just pull out and they confirm they're not going ahead, we pay the deposit to your solicitor, who then pays it to you. If it's gone past the time and they're basically saying, I need a bit more time, you're still in total control. So you can choose to just keep the deposit and remarket it, or you can, for example, give them extra time, but you can charge interest. So there's other options for you. The point is, you are in control. From your side on completion week, it's very simple. Your solicitor just sends you like a completion statement showing what funds are due to you and what they're going to take off, like their fee and any outlays that they have, and then you get your money. Job done. A lot of people have a lot of questions about selling through auction, so I'm going to try and answer all the most common questions here. So first question is, do I need to accept any offer? The answer is no. So when we put your property to auction, you get to set your minimum price. Unless we get an offer that you want to take, you don't have to sell. So you're in total control of the price and whether you actually sell it. Do I need to pay anything up front? The answer is no. So the photographs, the video tour, like the floor plan, all that kind of stuff, we pay for, so it's totally free for you. We only get paid when it actually sells, so unless we sell the property, you don't pay anything, so the risk is on us. Am I locked into a contract? We ask for 90 days to get your property sold, and the reason we do that is because we pay for like the photographs, the video tour, all of the upfront stuff, all of the marketing, and we need to have a fair shot at selling it, because if, for example, we do all of that stuff up front and then you decide the next day that you don't want to sell anymore, we've lost money, we're out of pocket. So it just gives us enough time, a fair shot. However, most properties sell well within that time period. The average days to sale is 26 days. Some properties sell like literally within the first day that it's listed, so it can happen really quick. But the only reason we have that 90-day agreement is so we have a fair shot at selling it. How long does it take to sell my property? As soon as we list your property, we can start taking offers. So that means that if we list it today, someone can make an offer today, and if you're happy with that price, we can just sell it. Our properties sell on average in 26 days from the day it's listed to finding a buyer. And then as soon as we find a buyer, they pay that deposit that day. And then the normal auction terms is they pay the rest 28 days later. So basically within a month of accepting the offer and having the deposit paid to you. Some properties sell a lot quicker. You can also ask for a shorter completion. So if you want 14 days as a completion time, you can do that. If you need a little bit more time to move out the property, for example, you can say, look, I'm happy with the offer, but I need 8 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever it is to move out. And so completion can be set by you. You are in total control. What if the buyer pulls out? If the buyer pulls out after paying the 10% deposit, you get to keep their deposit. We have a 97% completion rate because, funnily enough, buyers don't like losing money. When they make an offer and they pay that deposit, chances are they're going to be serious about buying it. Do I need a home report? The answer is yes, under certain conditions. So if you have a residential property in Scotland that is habitable, then yes, you do need a home report. You don't need a home report if your property is uninhabitable or if it's been sold as part of a portfolio. So those are the two factors that decide whether you need a home report in Scotland. Oh, sorry. Do I need a solicitor? Yes, you will need a solicitor to sell your property. If you're worried about paying anything up front or anything like that, don't worry. They also work like us. They will take their fee when the property sells out of the money that the buyer pays. So you don't have to pay them anything up front. They are also working on a success fee. Cost of a solicitor is usually around £1,000 to £1,500. It's the same fee whether it's an auction purchase or an auction sale or just a normal sale through an estate agent. Can I sell with my tenants in the property? Yes, absolutely you can. We sell to landlords who are happy to buy properties with tenants in the property. The way it works with tenanted properties is we only need to access them once to get all the photographs and all that stuff done. After that point, we don't do viewings, so we don't disturb your tenants. And when we do sell the property to an investor, it will be to someone that wants to keep them in. And all that happens is that when they become the owners, the tenants change who they pay rent to. So nothing really changes for them. And it's a seamless process and you don't have to evict them or disturb them in any way. Where will my property be advertised? So your property will be advertised on Rightmove, on Zoopla, on the market, on our website, on our social media. So we run some really heavy social media campaigns, and we also have a mailing list of just over 30,000 people. So you'll get maximum exposure, probably even more exposure than you would get with a normal estate agent. What happens if my property doesn't sell? If your property does not sell, you pay nothing. No sale means no fee. The only way we get paid is if we take a deposit from a buyer, because the fee comes out of the buyer's deposit. So unless we take a deposit, which means you're getting paid, we don't charge anything. If you have any more questions, drop us a comment or a DM somewhere and I'm more than happy to answer. Get hammered.
Hammered. Get it.
Okay, so you've now seen the entire process from start to finish, from seeing our advert to getting the money in your bank. Auctions in Scotland actually have quite a bad reputation, and I personally avoided it right at the start because I didn't understand how it worked. Done properly though, I genuinely believe that auctions give sellers the best terms they could ever wish for when it comes to selling something. And finally, auctions can help you close a chapter on a property that's been hanging over your head. If you want me to go deeper on anything that I've covered today, so reserve prices, negotiation, how we list stuff, how we price stuff, put it in the comments and I'll do a video on it. Or if you're ready to have a conversation about selling and this video is kind of giving you the push to do something about it, then there's a link in the description to get a free auction valuation So click that and then fill in your details as I've described in the video, and we'll be in touch very shortly. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and as always, get hammered.